The Danceology podcast interviews the great masters of dance, the working professionals starring in today's most exciting shows, and the rising stars ready to amp up the craft. I'm your host, Edyta Stawinska from Dancing with the Stars. Join me as I dive into the world of dance, uncovering unique stories and the fascinating personalities of industry professionals on Danceology. Sadie, thank you so much for coming on to Danceology. Would you please kindly introduce yourself to our audience for those who don't know who you are? What do you do? What is the style of dance that you represent? And anything else you would like to share to kind of just tell people about yourself?
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me on the podcast today. My name is Sadie Marquardt. I am a belly dancer. This is what we commonly call the dance form that I do is belly dancing in English. It's known as Raqs Sharqi in Arabic. It is an Arabic dance. The style that I do is more specifically Egyptian. I've been practicing it for almost 30 years. Before that, I was a gymnast, and I have always been a mover. I love movement. I'm trained in Pilates. I have done yoga for 20 years. I've studied many, many dance forms. I think other than belly dance, I really love Latin dances, specifically salsa. I studied dance in college for a while. So I have a really diverse background in movement, but belly dance is the thing that I just never seem to get enough of. There's just something about it for me that just has captured my heart and soul on every level. And 30 years in many ways, I feel like I'm just getting started. Other than that, I am also a mother. I live in Colorado. I travel the world. I do retreats for dance and yoga. I have other businesses. I'm a farmer. I farm hemp. And I have an online platform for dance that includes belly dance and other world dance forms, fitness and yoga. So I stay pretty busy. I'm also back in college. I'm working on getting my master's degree in psychology so that I can enrich my offerings with dance and, lifestyle and helping people through movement.
Gosh, there's so much to unpack there. You're incredibly busy, incredibly versatile too. So you mentioned that you were a gymnast, and I know you grew up in Wisconsin doing all kinds of different sports. I think swimming as well. We just talked about snowboarding. Seems like you were very active overall. And why belly dancing then? What attracted you to it?
I kind of ask myself that question a lot, and I try to think about what was happening in my life at the time that I found belly dance. I mean, a lot of it I really believe was divine intervention, and some of it just was perfect timing. So like you said, I was in swimming and gymnastics. I am definitely more of an athlete. Like all through my younger life, I never cared much about school or academics, but I always just was so passionate about any type of movement and exercise. I loved gymnastics. I loved swimming. I loved to ride my bike for 10 hours a day. I loved to go hiking and swimming in Lake Michigan where I grew up. So this type of stuff I was super passionate about. I always wanted to be a dancer when I was younger. And for whatever reason, I'm not sure why my mom never put me in dance classes, but that didn't stop me because I would always get the neighborhood kids together and I would create choreographies by watching Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Madonna. I would just replicate their dances. And my best friend, her parents were amazing. Shout out to the Schnurs. If it wasn't for them, I may not be a dancer. They had a jukebox in their house and they had a VHS recorder, and we would pick a song off the jukebox. I would make choreographies to it. Their daughters would dance with me. My brother would come and we'd round up the neighborhood kids. I was just a natural choreographer and I loved it. It just came so natural to me. And I always wanted to be in dance, but I was never in dance classes. So when I was 18, I said, okay, well, I'm an adult now. I can put myself in dance classes. And I wanted to
Wait a
start.
second. So you did not start officially dancing, I mean, training officially until you were 18?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
going. Keep going. I'm very
I know,
intrigued.
I was a late bloomer, but it was always in my heart, and I was always dancing no matter what.
And,
Um,
and you were athletic. You had the foundation, like a perfect foundation for you to build on your skills in dancing.
exactly. And then growing up in the 80s and 90s, I mean, come on, that's like, come on now. How do you escape those decades without just loving to dance?
Yeah.
So when I was 18, I said, I'm going to salsa dance. And around that same time, I naturally have a very curvaceous abdominal. Let's say that I have a little pooch, as they would say, and I have a small waist, but I have a very rounded pooch belly. And I kind of made a joke about it, like, oh, I should be a belly dancer. I don't even know where that came from. And in fact, when my mom and I kind of did some reverse engineering on where any of this may have came from, when I was in 5th grade, I asked my mom to make me a costume to be a belly dancer for Halloween. And
Wow.
we still to this day, we're like,
Premonition.
where did that idea come from? And then when I was 18, I said, okay, I was messing around with the idea of salsa. I was joking around about becoming a belly dancer. And I was driving my car. This was in 1996. And there was an ad on the radio, of all things. And it was who became my belly dance teacher. Her name is Joy Nan. She had a business called Unicorn Belly Dance and Telegrams. She did telegrams, but with belly, she called them bellygrams. So
Telegrams.
they were
What do you mean?
she called them belly grams. So she would
Uh-huh.
go with her husband, and he was a comedian, and he would like open, he would do a little comedy skit, and then she would do the belly dance.
Oh, she would dance.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so she had an ad
Fun.
on the radio for this, and I kind of like was like, what did I just hear? This is like insane. What is that? This is before internet, really. I
Sounds
mean, nothing was on the internet. So I had to go home. I opened up the phone book and I looked up belly dance, and I found the 2 or 3 teachers in Colorado that were teaching belly dance, and I signed up for their classes immediately. And the rest is kind of history. I just started going to classes, and it was, for me, an aha moment when I stepped into my teacher's studio, her home studio, walked down her basement stairs, and her studio, there was this jewelry and incredible belly dance costumes and posters. And I just was like, this is my place. I've been looking for this my whole life. And especially when she played the music and I heard the drums, I was like, that's it. We're done here. I found my thing, and I am
That's my
never
place.
stopping. And that's exactly what it was. I was so passionate from the first day, and I've never stopped 30 years later.
Yeah, it seems like it was meant to be since a long, long way before. So you touched upon your belly and your body, the way your body is. I wanted to talk to you about body image because I feel like the body image, the ideal of a female body in belly dancing is a lot more forgiving than it is in Western culture right now. Even let's talk about that belly. I mean, there is such a cult of a flat belly. Everyone wants to have a flat belly. I want to have a flat belly. I don't like when my belly is sticking out, and unfortunately, that happens. Particularly after you turn a certain age. But it seems almost celebrated in belly dancing. Can you elaborate on that body image in belly dancing versus the Western culture right now?
Yeah, it really does celebrate a woman's natural body and curves or no curves. I mean, everybody has a different body shape, but in general, as women, we do have a little bit more,
Yes.
padding in
Yes.
certain areas. It's what gives us our hips and our breasts and our belly. And especially if we look back to the what we call the golden era belly dancers. These were the dancers kind of really came to height in Egypt and in Egyptian cinema in the 40s. part of the 30s and the 40s. They were very fit, but they all had like this beautiful hips and waist and a little bit of just a little bit of a belly that just maybe here would not be so, like you said, so forgiving. It might be looked upon as like, it's kind of like the Marilyn Monroe style, just a little bit more curvaceous. But even beyond that, we can see women who have even way more curves than that and might even be heavier set. And it's still, for some reason, with the belly dancing, the moves and the way we do the moves really showcase well on dancers who have a little bit of weight, shall we say, or extra padding or extra jiggle. Like I always tell my students, the more jiggle you have, the more like a sexy, sensual, voluptuous shimmy you're going to have. And I don't know if it just kind of over time became this dance form where that's accepted, or it could be a cultural thing too. I think, I can't say exactly, I don't know the statistics on it, but I think the standards of beauty in the Arab world are quite different than the Western world, and what they find beautiful in the female form is definitely different than the Western aesthetic. And it does seem that they appreciate, a woman to have a little bit more curves. And so that could be part of it as well. And I think there's just something about the dance form that really speaks to women, embraces women to just come to the dance and be themselves. It's not the kind of dance like ballet that you have to be learning from the time you're 4 and you have to like really form your body. Belly dance is the complete opposite of that. It's anybody can learn it at any time. And it just feels really good. I mean, you do have to work hard to get good at it, but it's just a very forgiving and also just natural form of movement.
Natural.
A lot of the movements are innate, organic. It really goes with the way that our body moves, and it's accessible to everybody. So don't know exactly where the aesthetic kind of how that landed that way, but it is, you are going to see a lot more body shapes and types within belly dance than any other dance form for sure.
It seems like belly dancing is perfectly catered to a female body. So now, what do you think about male belly dancers? Because I did Google it and I did find some male belly dancers. And here's the thing, I'm just gonna, there's no judgment whatsoever. However, it feels like belly dancing is so integral with the female body, almost like we talked about, a little bit like with ballroom dancing. In ballroom dancing is a dancing in couple. It's a male and female. And recently, even on competitions, you would see these people competing single. There are single categories. Just because there are not enough partners, we're short of boys. And I think it's great for little kids to do because it gives them the chance to dance and perform. But at the same time, it takes away something from dancing because ballroom dancing is essentially about the female and male. And when you dance single, you don't get that at all. And the same with belly dancing. It seems so much like belly dancing, and I'm not an expert, so here's a question for you. It's so much about female body. And how can guys do it? What's your opinion about it?
Yeah, it's another very fascinating and interesting question that I wouldn't even consider myself fully, like the expert on talking about this or anything. I could just share what I've seen over the 30 years and what I also know. So first of all, yeah, we're seeing a lot more male belly dancers now. And I think for a lot of the same reasons you mentioned, I think just a lot is changing in the world, right? Where people just really want to follow their passion. And if somebody is passionate about belly dance, whether they're a man or a woman, and feels inspired to do it, they're going to do it, right? We kind of live in that era now, whereas before there was a lot of barriers, social stigmas, taboos of like, you're a man, you can't do that. What I will say is that men have always been involved with rock sharky or belly dance in the Arab world. There's a lot of really famous male choreographers that are really spearheaded the choreographies that we see from these famous female golden era dancers. So they were oftentimes trained by men, especially for the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And
Interesting.
and I'm not sure why that is either. I mean, it could be a couple things. One is, Egypt is a very patriarchal society, meaning that a lot of things are gate kept by the men. So even when I go to Egypt now and I run my tours, everything goes through the man still.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, there's nothing to be upset
Part
about.
of the culture.
It's just the way it is. And so I wonder in some ways if, men kind of run things in that way. So I wonder if the male choreography came in that way. You always have your artists. You always have your male artists who are just incredible with fashion, overall artistic vision and direction, music. So, they were a part of it in that way. There's also pockets of male belly dancer or male dancers historically, like in the Ottoman Empire, they're called the Kochek. They were the male dancers that would impersonate females. Now, there's a kind of interesting history with all of that. And it also goes to the separation of men and women and how young prepubescent boys would dress to look like a woman because women were not allowed to dance in public. And so because women are shamed and not allowed to dance in public, it's considered, against religion. It makes, it would make your family ashamed of you. There was a niche for seeing performers that could,
imitate women.
Yeah, imitate them, because the women who have basically sacrificed everything to be dancers, it's a tough life for them. Even still today in Egypt, it's opening up a little bit, but women pay a big price to dance in Egypt if they're Egyptian, which is why there's a lot of foreign dancers there. So that's just kind of a brief history of maybe how and why some of these things have evolved with the male dancers. I think the reason we're seeing so many male dancers today is just completely different. It's just completely what we're seeing with questioning gender roles and, questioning our identity and just people really wanting to be happy and live their lives. When men come into my classes, they feel free and happy and as expressive as any woman. And so I welcome them into my class as long as they're respectful as well. And they're not, what I mean? It's not somebody coming in to try to.
So you do, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You do have male students.
Yes. Not very many, but I do. Yeah. And I've trained professional male dancers. I have trained with professional male dancers. In fact, a couple of my probably most influential teachers have been Professor Hassan Khalil from Egypt. He's a folkloric and theater professor. I've trained with him. And then another one of my friends who's Lebanese, and he's an amazing choreography, Simon Sarkis, has also been one of my teachers. And then I've also trained men. So, they're part of our community and they're amazing and they have something unique and special to offer as well. But I think getting back to like why women have been sort of the image of belly dancing is just going back again to those kind of gender roles of like, the woman is the sweet, soft, beautiful, feminine figure that we want to worship, and kind of this duality of the masculine and the feminine that maybe is this duality is getting is changing and becoming blurred a bit now in our modern times, right?
That's for sure. I can absolutely see men choreographing and being part of the process. I was just curious about how do they perform without the hips and the jiggle that we have. But I do get it, and I do support anyone doing whatever they feel like doing. You mentioned something about women paying a high price in Egypt for being belly dancers. What is the price? Why is that? I mean, I know why is that. It's a patriarchal society, but what is the price that they pay? What is the conflict there?
It's a long road for a dancer, an Egyptian dancer, to reach the point where she would be respected. So, and many people, many dancers who take that road are never going to make it there. So, for example, a lot of women in Egypt will dance in nightclubs because they have to make money, and they don't always even love it. So it's not the reason you and I dance. It's literally a paycheck for them. It's considered haram, which is forbidden by a lot of times by conservative religion. Most families are going to feel very ashamed that their daughter would be putting themselves and their body in front of men in this way, because of the religion and because of the patriarchal conservative structure of the society. And so any woman who would agree to do that is basically a shameful woman. So that's already the thing that the foundation they're starting from. But a lot of these girls, because a lot of them are young, are supporting their families. And so there's this real bad kind of thing going on where it's like the families are shaming these girls, but at the same time they rely on these girls.
You're feeding them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it can be a really ugly dynamic. Now you have the other group of dancers or women who literally see belly dancing as an art because they grew up with it. Yeah, they grow up with it, and they saw the golden era dancers, and they see the famous Egyptian dancers of today, that they grow up seeing that. It's everywhere. It's on the TV, even though in a lot of ways they would never want their daughter to do that. It's such a big part of their culture. There's a belly dancer at every single wedding. There's a belly dancer on TV in all the films and all the time. So they grow up seeing that in the music videos. If you watch music videos from the Arab world, especially Egypt, you're going to see a belly dancer quite often in the music videos. Mm-hmm. So they grow up watching this, just like I grew up in the 80s and 90s with MTV, and I was inspired to dance. They're obviously inspired as well, and they see it as an art form. They see it as something exciting and beautiful. And they want to approach it from that way. So they might go to school, get their degree, but on the side, they're learning how to belly dance. And then they might at some point get to the point where they actually want to perform. And they still have to deal with all of that societal pressure of like, is that okay or not? Now, things are opening up a little bit. And I can only really speak to Egypt because I've traveled there a lot and I have experience there. It is starting to open up a little bit where people are starting to loosen some of these like stereotypes about it. It's very complex. It's very complicated. There's many levels and many layers, but suffice to say that this dance evolved there in Egypt over, you could possibly say, thousands of years, and it is still evolving in Egypt with the daughters, the mothers, the grandmas passing on their traditions. It's also being changed a lot by social media because now these young girls are seeing the dance influence on social media, and that's changing the style. But it is still firmly rooted in culture and tradition in Egypt.
It has always been a surprise for me that such conservative culture, that a very patriarchal culture where women have to be covered up and there are so many rules about them staying at home and what they can wear, have produced a dance that is so sensual and so, let's call it what it is, sexy. It's quite sexy. So I was always wondering about that, but I understand that. Do you feel like belly dancing in Egypt is looked a little bit upon as strip dancing? I know women don't undress themselves, but do you feel like it's looked upon that way a little bit?
It can be, because there's levels and tiers of the type of performances you're going to see. So earlier I said that as a dancer who would take that journey, they might have to start in these kind of lower nightclubs that are seen a little bit more as fulfilling that. So they're never naked, but they're in a very revealing belly dance costume. And for the men that patronize those places, that's the only opportunity they really have there to see a woman in that fashion, unless they're looking online or something. So in a way, yeah, you could almost kind of make that assumption. even though
And
it's a
that way
little
I
bit,
can see how it gives belly dancing a bad rap.
yeah,
I can see that.
well, these guys, men all over the world, it doesn't matter what kind of religion or structure you're under, love women, right? They want to be near, and they want to see women. So especially in a culture, I mean, it happens here, and here you can have everything, and we still have strip clubs. I don't know how strip clubs are still making business when you can like do everything there.
Online.
So this is not specific to any culture, right? This is happening in some way, shape, or form everywhere. So you have that type of a club, and then you have your very high-end tourism, kind of gate-kept touristic performances in your like
Performances.
five-star 5-star hotels, where you're going to find the most famous dancers that get paid a lot of money. They're also actresses and movie stars.
I want to go back to the body image and femininity. It's impolite to ask a woman about her age, but I do know that you are just like me, well into your 40s, and you are absolutely a beautiful dancer and an inspiration for so many women. Because here's the thing, I feel like, particularly in Western society, once you turn certain age as a woman, you kind of are not allowed to be sexy. You are not looked upon as desirable. And yet, here you are performing all over the world and being so incredibly confident about it. Where does your confidence come from?
Ooh, that's a good question. To be honest with you, like as you're saying that, and I'm like just feeling it, it's kind of like we have all these things that are floating around us from the outside world, expectations, society, all the messages that we receive that may or may not be true, but we just are exposed to them. And they creep into our psyche, and they tell us things like, oh, an older woman is not desirable. Oh, an older woman is past her prime. Oh, this, oh, that, right? We hear all the things, but then I come, I'm here at home. I don't feel any of that. So for me, I'm always questioning the outside truths compared to what I feel. So I feel stronger and healthier and more beautiful than I've ever felt. Even though I got, over here, I'm getting my gray hairs coming in, and I got to, feel little lines and wrinkles, and I'm getting my little turkey waddle thingy under my neck and all that stuff. I love it. I look in the mirror and I feel like I earned that. I don't want to feel bad about that, And then I also just I personally feel more beautiful than I've ever felt. And the way that people respond to me, and I think it's because of the way I feel about myself, I get more attention, more marriage proposals than I've ever gotten. I was just in Egypt this January.
Wait a second, aren't you married already?
Well, no, I'm not married. I am.
Oh, you're not married. Okay.
I've been in a long-term relationship, but I was just in Egypt preparing my tour, and I mean, I had 30-year-old men literally almost crying, like, "Please, I love you. I'll marry you." And I'm just like, "Dude, I'm 47." Like, they're like, "No, ages don't matter." So I'm just saying, like, the way you carry yourself, everything you said, and it's true. We hear these messages, but we always have a choice. And we all know that woman. We all know that woman that's like 60, 70, 80 and just radiating, living their life happy and vibrant. And you just cannot help but be so attracted to them and so curious about them and so inspired by them that's what I'm focusing on now. I'm like, all that aging BS, sure, fine, whatever. Think what you want. Those are not the people for me, right? If there's somebody out there who doesn't want to know about me or work with me or anything because I'm older, fine. There's plenty of people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't even consume my thoughts or my being with those messages anymore. I mean, even when I'm exposed to them, it's kind of like, that's not my truth. That's not my truth. And I do actively seek out older women that I follow on Instagram that are fully gray, fully embracing aging, and so that I can be exposed to that and be excited for that. And, and that's not to say that I don't do a lot of things to look after myself and care for myself. I'm not over here just going, let the aging process happen. Like, I want to take care of myself. This is my body. This is my vessel. I want to dance as long as I can. And I want to be aesthetically pleasing to look at. It doesn't mean that I have to be looking like I'm 20 or 30, but I want somebody to be able to look at my form and look at my shape and feel like that's a beautiful thing to watch, because let's not be, let's not sugarcoat it. Whatever we're watching in performance, we want to see beauty. Beauty is the thing that we all appreciate, but I don't think beauty has to mean that we look like we're 20. So I'm excited about aging.
Yeah, and I truly think that you are an inspiration to a lot of women that feel the same way and maybe don't have enough courage to do what you do. What advice would you give to women that still feel that they cannot come out of the shelf, and that kind of, the life is over because I turned 45 or 50?
The first thing I would say is that belief probably has been with them from the very beginning, and not necessarily ever about age. It was probably just a self-confidence issue, something that they were always holding themselves back for because they didn't feel pretty enough, they didn't feel in shape enough, they didn't feel good enough. And then that lack of confidence and self-love just takes on different masks as we get older. Then we just start saying, oh, now I'm too old, or now it's this, or now it's that. But if we look back, we see that nasty voice in our head that we picked up from wherever has always been with us in one way, shape, or form. So it's not even necessarily about the age, but it's about just having that real conversation with yourself. Oh my goodness, if you're in your 40s, how much longer are you going to hold yourself back? Because your life is halfway over if you're lucky. How much longer are you going to hold yourself back from living your life and feeling the joy you deserve to feel? Because you're holding on to these beliefs that you picked up from somebody else or the external society. We have the power and the ability to override that. We really do. There's psychological tools now. I mean, I'm studying them all. It takes time. It's not easy. You do have to really look at yourself and do the work. And it hurts sometimes, especially when you get, because this is what happened to me. When you do the work, you actually feel so sad that you did this to yourself. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is not stopping believing what other people are putting on you. The hardest part is that you did this to yourself for decades. You were your worst critic. You were the one who held you back. That's the hardest part of that work. But you have to do that work if you ever want to have even a moment of feeling true joy and peace in your own body and feeling like, yeah, this is my life to live. This is my one life to live. I deserve to live it.
Well, that's a really good answer. That is an incredibly inspiring answer. Let's talk about specific, because you look absolutely incredible. What do you do besides dancing to look the way you look? Your skin is radiant. Your face looks beautiful. Your body is in incredible shape. How do you do it?
Thank you. And same to you. I'm looking at you going, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. I will say, shout out Revolve Facial Aesthetics. I have been part of this thing called the Youthful Skin Club since my son was born. And I'll share why. So when I was pregnant, my son was born, I got melasma, which is the patchy.
Oh, I know melasma.
They call it the pregnancy mask. And I got it down my belly, and I was uncomfortable with that because I've always had a pretty nice complexion overall. And so I went to the Revolve Facial Aesthetics because they had some programs to help through IPL laser to do remove the melasma.
Pigmentation. Mm-hmm.
So I started there 14 years ago. And then what I also did, because I listened to an interview with Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford had microdermabrasion done every month for like, that's how she said was one of her skin secrets. So I joined what they call their youthful skin club there. It's like $50 a month at the time. It's a little more now. And that gets you one microdermabrasion every month, which is actually quite cheap because usually you could pay $100 or more for that. So in addition to doing the IPL and the monthly microdermabrasion, which literally sloughs off all your dead skin, so you're never going to have an accumulation of dead skin, I also use tretinoin, vitamin C serum, all the tried and true dermatological, proven, scientific. These are the things that definitely work: is tretinoin, vitamin C, and sunscreen. Forget it all if you're not going to wear your sunscreen. So,
yeah.
And part of the reason
I was going to come back.
Yeah, the skin looks so dewy and glowy is I have an amazing sunscreen that has like hyaluronic acid in it. My skin didn't look this good before I put it on. So,
can you share which brand is it?
I can grab it for you and show you. Actually, I have to reorder some things. This is my favorite. I have it here because I have to reorder. Have you ever heard of Geek and Gorgeous? So, and I don't sell this stuff or anything, but this is what I use because they're pure products. They don't put any chemicals in it and they work. They only do the line of products that are proven scientifically to be actives that work on your skin. So those are, and then
when we are done, I will take a note of where you can find it, where you can buy it, and I'll share it with my viewers. I'm sure a lot of girls would love to know where to find it.
Yeah, so I do all this. And then the other thing I do that I bought this 2 years ago. I saved my money for it. And this is a health hack that has become very popular, but I swear by it. It's a red light panel. So I bought a whole panel. It's like this big. It would go from my head to like my top of my thighs. And I bought a stand so that it is like this. And I literally like lay under it. And I do that every single day. And if you read about the
for how long?
You're supposed to do like anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes a day.
Oh,
take a couple days off. Yeah, and so there's a lot of backed science behind that one too. I researched it for a long time. So I'm also a nerd. I love to research, and I don't use anything that does not have some pretty solid evidence and research behind it. So I do my red light therapy. In addition to that, I drink a ton of water. I eat very healthy and clean. I exercise. I do yoga and dancing all the time. I go hiking and go for walks. I try to live a kind of stress-free life. I mean, life is very stressful. I'm very busy. But when I'm feeling that stress, that is literally when I stop and I just do some deep breaths, and I try not to internalize the stress. I just try to find the blessing in everything. So when I'm busy and overwhelmed, thank you, God. Thank you that I have work, that I am accomplishing my dreams. I'm going to school right now. It's very stressful, but you know what? I love to learn, and I just flip it. I flip it to the positive, and I don't care what anybody says. Since I have been doing that, I think I'm like anti-aging. So those are some of my tips, but I know that I have seen examples of people who literally defy aging, and it's not by doing major things. It's just by being consistent, doing consistent daily habits and practices.
That sounds like an amazing advice. You mentioned about your school and all the other things that you're doing. You seem very, very busy, and you also are a mom. First of all, how has motherhood affect your career?
It was a big change, a very big change. It changed a lot. I would say it changed for the better, but it was a big adjustment period. It was a very big adjustment period. But my industry, again, is so forgiving. It's so amazing. My community of dancers, I mean, we support each other. We're very supportive. We are not corporate in any way, shape, or form. There's no corporate entities in belly dance. It's all grassroots, community-based. Artists and dancers get paid very well. When I talk to dancers that are like, trying to do the videos and trying to work with Sierra, these dancers don't get paid nothing. And I tell them like the career I built for myself, and they're shocked. They're like, how can I do that? I'm like, stop.
And you are Right. And you are not limited by age, which I want to, talk about it as well. Most
Exactly.
dancers stop at 35. Ballroom dancers, there are no women who continue dancing after they have, or on competitive level after they had a child. They can still perform, but it's not on the competitive level. And it's like an athlete career. You stop when you're 35. With belly dancing, seems like you can continue for a lot longer.
Yes, and in a lot of ways, the older you are and the more established in the community, you become like a grandmother or just a staple pillar of the community that people want to work with because you have so much knowledge and wisdom. And so there is a lot of respect for elders in our community. Now, of course,
Oh my
nothing is
God.
perfect and we have a lot of issues too. And so I'm not going to just act like it's all perfect. But in general, it works, and in general you can really find your way. I mean, of course you have to be good at what you do, and you have to be a good people person, and you have to
Always.
be kind and all those things. There's a lot of assholes in my community too, and they don't go very far for very long. They burn a lot of bridges and people don't want to work with them. So you know but
But they
because
can make your life more difficult.
yes, but because of my community overall, that is, I mean, they just continue to support me through my pregnancy and after I had my baby, and when I had to take breaks and be slower about stuff. They just never left me. My fans and my students never left me, and they're still supporting me to this day. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed. But I do always continue to find ways to give back to the community because the community has also given me so much. And when I was a student, I also invested in the community. I took workshops, I took classes, I paid my way and paid my dues, and I still do. I still take classes, I still support artists, I still support Egyptians. I take tours to Egypt every year, and we go there and we support the Egyptian economy. And, I'm always thinking about how am I giving back and how am I also enriching and supporting the community. But really, if it wasn't for them, I don't know how I would have done. I would have figured it out because I'm that kind of a person. But I would say moving forward to now, like being a mom was the number one school of my life. It made me the best person I would never want to be the person I was before I had my kid. I am so much more compassionate. I'm so much more patient. I am a freaking multitasker like nobody's business. I can prioritize. I have boundaries. I know when something is good for me or not good for me. I know how to say no because I have to prioritize things. It's just made me all the way around a better person. And I've said this before, anybody who owns a business, I'm sorry, hire moms. Moms are no joke. Moms know how to multitask, man. Moms know how to get shit done. Moms will make a to-do list that'll make your head spin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we have to grow so much when we become a parent. It's really true. Listen, do you think that women can have it all? I mean, you have a training program. You're a teacher. You travel all over the world. Now you went back to school, which again, I just keep saying this is so inspiring. I so love it. You're 47 and you're doing your master's degree, and you're already so accomplished. You keep learning, but can we have it all? Because I'll tell you honestly, for a minute in my life, I have two kids. It's a little bit harder. It gets exponentially harder with more children. But for a minute there, I had to stop on my tracks to focus on my kids. How do you feel about it?
I would say, yeah, you have to be very realistic. I would say I don't feel like I've been able to have it all, even though I probably look like I have it all. Have had to say goodbye to a lot of things that just aren't fitting into my life. I have a certain amount of time and I can fit certain things. And that's where the prioritization comes in, is like, what am I prioritizing in my life? And my son is my number one priority. And there were years in his younger years where I really had to like decrease my workload by more than 50%. And I wasn't making a lot of money, but I knew that I could come back and I could start again. And I'm glad that I prioritized my son. What I will say is you can have a lot in your life. You can live the most enriched, fulfilled life, but you kind of need to have a support system. Like, I wouldn't say that we can have it all by doing it all ourselves. Like, if it hadn't been for my support system and my family and my partner, I could never do this. I could never do what I do. I mean, my son has so many loving family members that step up and take care of him when I have to travel and help support me. And I'm so grateful. I recognize that so much. And I do tell women, you know, having a child is amazing. It'll be one of the most fulfilling things in your life, but I don't recommend it for people who don't have a support system. If it's not the partner or the father of the child, you got to have a mom or a dad or a sister or a cousin or somebody who just really can be there for you when you need them. And I've seen all kinds of cool ways that it's been done. One of my belly dance friends, actually her and her best friend did IVF together at the same time. They got pregnant at the same time. They bought a house together and they raised their sons together. And their sons are now 14 years old and they're still doing it and they're doing amazing. And they take each other's kids to one of the ladies is from Argentina. She takes both boys. They're like moms together. They're not together as a couple.
They partner up. Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, those boys are amazing. They are so smart. They are so well educated. They are well traveled. So I'm just saying there's unconventional.
There are ways of doing it.
But you have to really think those things through in your life. I mean, it's going to make a big impact to the quality of your life if you're not setting yourself up for success. And that takes definitely some philosophical, existential moments with the journal to figure it out. But if you do that, you will, in a way, feel like you got everything you wanted.
Do you write a journal?
Not as much as I probably just made it sound like I do, but I do. Like on big moments, I will write in my journal. I will do just where I kind of get my thoughts out. My big thing,
I think it's so important.
I do to-do lists. I love my to-do lists and like goals for the year. Like, here's all the things I want to do, but also here's what I accomplished. I like to do the 5-year out, 10-year out, 20-year out projections. So more than journaling, I do a lot of that. Like, where do I see myself in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Then I reverse engineer it. If this is what I want in 20 years, what do I have to be doing right now to start working towards that goal, which is why I'm back in school. So, you know, manifestation is real, but it's not because you sat there and you dreamed about it. It's because you made a freaking plan and you got to work on that plan. And it takes time. I'm 47, guys. A lot of the most successful parts of my career have only happened in the last 10 years. So in a way, it wasn't until my late 30s, after my son was already born, that some of my greatest career blessings have actually happened for me. But it did build off of the hard work that I did before that.
Mm-hmm. So where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5, 10, 20 years?
So my ultimate goal, I'll go to the 20-year goal. My 20-year goal is that I open up my own center. It would be like a retreat center, but also just a center for the arts, a center for healing, a center for, that's why I want to become a clinical psychotherapist so that I can weave that in with the work that I do with dance and music. I would love to have just, you know, a center where I have all my healing devices and the salt spa and the hot springs. And we're just also a community of artists, all different kind of artists. Like I would like to have different little mini studios that different artists could rent with a big kind of retreat center in the middle where different artists could host things. We could host weddings. We could host couples retreats. It will have to be somewhere in nature because the healing power of nature, I don't care how much anti-aging stuff you're doing or how much education.
Gotta go out there.
Nature is where it's at, man. Nature is the key for me of everything. That's my ultimate goal. Yeah. So I'm just
that sounds amazing.
I'm saving money and I'm educating myself right now and I'm working towards that. And I do think it'll take me 10 to 15 years before I'm even close to accomplishing that. And that's okay, because I feel like once I get there, I'll be about 60 years old and I'll just be like, okay, this is it now. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And then I would love to be able to offer things to the community that support the community also, not just people with money. Because I feel like the retreat industry, which I lead a lot of retreats, but I feel like it can be toxic in a lot of ways because it's only available to people who have a ton of money. So I want to bring some of these modalities to the general public,
Community
people
closer.
who need it but maybe can't afford it.
Right. And dancing is a perfect background for it. There's more and more studies proving how dancing is beneficial for your longevity, for even delaying Alzheimer's, dementia, for keeping you younger, longer, because it creates these connections. It's the body and mind connection. There are a few sports that can do that. I think tennis is one of them as well, where you have to involve your body and your brain at the same time. And that's something that's really, really beneficial and can delay aging. So I think that's a great foundation for it. Let's change subject and talk about America's Got Talent. You are one of the very few belly dancers that I know it's in the past. We talked about your future, but I want to talk about this experience. You're one of the very few belly dancers that appeared on America's Got Talent. And I looked at your performance, and yours and your partner, or
Naya.
a
Her name is
female dance
Naya.
partner, Naya. It was very beautiful, very interesting. Tell me about this experience. And I feel like you kind of went beyond traditional belly dancing to accommodate the TV show format. TV is a different animal. Tell me about it, and how much did you have to adjust of what you were doing
That's
at
a
the
very
time?
smart question. You definitely saw exactly what happened there. Well, the cool thing was they reached out to us, so we didn't have to audition. They wanted belly dancers on the show, and we weren't the only ones that season. I think for whatever reason, they wanted to have some belly dancers that season. So they reached out to us, and we went to their first preliminary round, and the other belly dancers were there too, and we were the belly dancers that made it through. And then we made it through like 2 or 3 more rounds, and we ended up in the quarterfinals. And it was a very interesting process. The corporate entertainment world, which is very foreign to me because I don't know anything about that with my belly dancing. And they did a lot of work with us to try and be like, first they wanted us to dance to like really pop music. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's not what we do. And I can't do that. I'm not just going to all of a sudden completely change my style to fit your form. And at one point they said that they would cut us if we didn't use the pop music that they were suggesting. And we were like, okay, that's fine. We understand it's not a fit. Then they agreed with us. They worked with one of my friends who produces a lot of belly dance music to come up with something that they literally used the words alienating. They said that the belly dance music was too alienating for the audience. And I'm like, but that's what I do. But then they finally agreed on the music we chose. They said that it was like catchy and it could work. So that was an obstacle, that because they really wanted to keep everything catering to the American audience, and so they felt that the belly dance music might be too foreign for them and that they might not enjoy it. One thing I learned during that process is they really want to dig in and find everybody's sob story. They want the hero's journey for everybody. And so they just kept picking on that. And I was just like, that's not my style, guys. They're like, what's happened to you in your life? And so they kind of, at the end of the day, kind of came up with their own little sob story for us, which was just cheesy. But I'm just like, they were going around to all the people like, oh, this one here survived Katrina, and this one here, and this and that, and what happened to you? And I told them at one point that I had broke my back when I was a teenager, which I did. And they just went to town with that, she was never gonna walk again. And like,
Yeah.
Man, oh man. So, it was cool. I'm glad I did it. I'm actually very grateful that I didn't progress to the next round because it was a huge contract and they would have taken over all of my work and basically been making money off of me and my contracts and my work. So I'm glad that I didn't go any further than I did, but I'm glad that I had the exposure I had. It was fun.
Did it help your career in any way?
Not at all. I don't think I got a single job outside of my dance
Interesting.
community already that it didn't bring me any kind of other like corporate work or like talent agents or anything like that. It just became another video that kind of went viral for my belly dancing. But it was cool. It was a unique experience, and it made me really appreciate my dance community again, that like I don't have to sign 250 pages worth of contracts every time I'm about to do a show. Um, the
That's
music stuff.
insane.
Yeah, it's like we work directly with musicians, that are just like, yeah, here's the music, use the music, just give me credit, just give me a shout out. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for the belly dance industry community. I'm really lucky, guys. I'm really lucky. And, that just goes to show you, create more grassroots communities because you guys will support each other. Like, we don't need all this corporate. I'm with Prince on this one, man. Just go watch what Prince had to say about it all, guys. Just get out of the corporate world.
Yes, Prince was very much against, he was even against internet. He was warning people decades ago how this is going to control our life. And instead of giving us more knowledge, it's going to make us more stupid, which kind of what I feel happened. But listen, so you feel like they wanted to take a profit off of your performances going forward after the show? Is that
Basically, what was going
something?
to happen was if we had advanced to the
Just
next
curious.
round, we
Uh-huh.
would be under their talent agency. And so any work,
Oh, okay.
whether it came through them or us, would all have to be done through them. So it's not that they wanted to like take my work, but they would have become my agent. And
Got it. Got it.
yeah, and it would have lasted
And
a
then you would have
while.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
How did belly dancing community reacted to you performing on the show? Because I'll tell you, just as a comparison, when we started performing on Dancing with the Stars and we came out from competitive ballroom world, we were looked upon with a bit of contempt, as if we betrayed the true art of ballroom dancing. Because, as you mentioned, you have to adjust certain things to a TV format, and on the show we had to open up the rules, and they're quite strict in ballroom dancing, to make it more interesting for the audience. We used props, we started doing lifts, more fun choreography, also incorporating different music. I'm a Latin ballroom Latin dancer, so we normally would dance to a lot of Latin music. We had to dance to all sorts of pop songs, and that became also sometimes a source of conflict, because they would give me a song and here is your paso doble. I'm like, that's a Superman theme song. Has nothing to do with with flamenco or Spanish culture. But I was down for it because I feel like it brought dancing closer to the audience, to the white audience. But I wanted to ask you, how did your community react to you appearing on the show?
Overall, it was a good reception because we did stick to the belly dancing and we did use belly dance music. I think the part where they put the guys behind us, which I have no idea why they did that. It was, fire and like tiki guys. I think they were a little bit like, but I think they understood the assignment. Like they understood that
TV.
some of it was out of our control. But yeah, I absolutely know what you're saying, because even within the community, I see people often, shaming or trashing people who do kind of venture or veer off into that corporate sphere a little bit more, and they're getting a little bit more experimental. For me, it just doesn't bother me. I don't mind people experimenting and exploring. I think that's what art is all about. And I also just don't engage in the gossip about it. And then if people are doing it to me, they've done it enough to me over the years too, where I'm just like, I'd rather be the one being talked about than doing the talking. So just keep on talking about me. I'll stay in my lane over here. I'm staying in my lane, being the one getting talked about. You stay in your lane and keep talking about me.
Right. Right. That's exactly right. Listen, I feel like we are running out of time here. So my last question will be, if you are a woman or a man, at a certain age, let's say over 40, and you are feel cautious about starting something new, whether it's belly dancing or whether it's going back to school or realizing your dreams, what is the advice would you give them?
I think the advice for me would just be to just do the small, daily, consistent steps towards making that dream a reality, and just being okay with the fact that it's going to take a long time. So, like they say, I don't like this one, but I don't know another one to use. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Like the journey of 1,000 steps literally starts with each individual step. And I've always been really good at that. I've always been really good at being okay with that. Like, I don't say to myself, I'm not going to start because I'm so afraid of the journey ahead. I'm always just like, whatever, I'm going to be, with school, I'm going to be 5 years older anyways. I might as well be 5 years older with a master's degree, and small, bite-size, really attainable goals every day, that to-do list, like, just setting an hour a day. And I know it's hard. It is hard, but you will find it. If I can find that time, you can find that time. 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is, to just get going 5 days a week, 4 days a week, 10 to 20 to 60 minutes a day. You will be shocked at the progress you will make in a year. And then you'll start to get some steam. You'll get some motivation behind you to where that snowball will grow. And then you'll really start putting more time and more effort because you'll see the rewards. But you have to start. So if the thing that's holding you back is that you're afraid of how long the journey or how big the thing is, just break it up into smaller pieces. And who cares if it's going to take me 5 years to get a master's degree instead of 2, because I can only go part-time. I don't care. I'm still going to do it.
That's amazing. You are a true inspiration. I think you have so much wisdom to share. I am not surprised that you are so popular in your community and in your world, because I see that now. I only could see you as a belly dancer and from the videos that I saw and little snippets of interviews. But you are a very wise human being with a very great system set up for a system to, I don't like to say achieve success, because success is different for everyone, but a system that keeps you growing, keeps you developing, and allows you to attain your goals or whatever your, I would say, your dreams almost. This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much. I always ask my guests to share whatever else they would like to share, what projects they have coming up, and how we can find them online on social media.
Well, thank you so much. And for me also, it's just an honor to get to speak with you. You're an incredible host and conversationalist, and you ask really thoughtful, deep questions. And I see that you're doing the work too. I can tell just by looking at you and the way that you communicate and the incredible accomplishments you've made. So thank you so much. Is it Adita is how you pronounce your name? For having me today and exposing me to your guests and your fans. And if anybody would like to know more about me, I do have an online school called Rocks Online, RAQS Online. We do have 15 different dance forms and fitness styles on there, including belly dance, that you can come check out for $25 a month. You can have a monthly subscription and have access to all the 700 classes. Other than that, you can just check my website, and I do a lot of workshops around the world and retreats. I don't really have regular classes anymore, but I offer retreats and workshops for all levels. My retreats are good for all levels too. So anybody who's not even full out belly dancer yet, I will get you set up to a place where you could join one of the retreats and have an amazing experience. I do tours to Egypt. You don't have to be a dancer. I also bring non-dancers and anybody who just wants to experience the magic of Egypt. I do those a couple times a year. So lots of opportunities. And for the dancers out there who are training hard and they have sore muscles, I have hemp products. I'm a hemp farmer, so you can use some of my products. They really help with relaxing the muscles and aches and pains in the joints. So I got a lot going on. You could check the websites. I'm sure Adita will put some links.
I'll
Or
put
you
it
could,
all out there. Yes.
I have an Instagram. That's the one I use most. I'm not on TikTok. But you could also just email me. I love to hear from people. I have a YouTube channel, Sadie Belly Dance, so you can kind of just watch some of my performances and things there.
Sounds great. Sounds great, Sadie. Thank you. Best luck to you. I know you will get there. I know you will build an amazing retreat, whether it's going to happen sooner or later. But I know it is going to happen because of the way you think and how you work. So best luck to you, Sadie. Thank you
You
again
so
for your
much,
amazing
Adita. Thank you,
conversation.
everybody, for chiming in today.